My guest today is Namita Piparaya, who is a yoga and Ayurveda lifestyle specialist. Thank you so much, Namita, for taking the time. And my first question to you is this.
Thanks,
a lot of people look at yoga and they have different ideas about it. You know, some look at it as an exercise, some look at it as saying, okay, what's the use of this? But essentially, it is a way of life, isn't it? How would you describe it?
Absolutely. But yoga is also a versatile practice. So people can personalize it if they're into fitness and exercise. You can convert a yoga practice to, to align with that goal. It can be something that you use for recovery, or it can be a stress management practice. And I think that is where yoga is most effective, because that's what it was originally designed for. And when you talk about stress management, it's something that weaves itself into your entire life, because it's not just something you will do on a mat. You deal with stress at every point in your day or different points in your life. So that's what makes it something that is a way of life, because what you do on the mat just teaches you how to deal with stress. And in your life, then you actually get to implement it. So that's what I would say. It's best used as a stress management practice, but for people who enjoy it as a fitness and exercise routine, more power to them, because there's nothing really wrong with that.
It's so ancient and it's so essentially Indian, right? The practice of yoga. And I like what you said. It resonated with me as well, because I'm not necessarily the most flexible person, Namita. So if you're talking about somebody like me who would like to start, where do I get started? Can I also start yoga?
Absolutely. And I love that question, because a lot of people have this inhibition that if they're not flexible, then they can't do yoga. But that's the very reason. If you are not flexible, that means you need yoga more than somebody who's already very hypermobile. And, there are very different objectives as to why you can do yoga. But since you've spoken of flexibility, then that's what I will talk about. One of the best things that yoga does for you is it improves your balance. So one thing that you should include in your everyday practice is a single leg balance, which could be your tree pose or vrikshasana, could be warrior three. And then next comes your spine. I think the most important thing in yoga is the mobility of your spine. And you will see a typical yoga practice will have forward bend, back bend, side bending, and twists. So those are four essential movements that we should include. And a forward bend could be trying to reach for your toes. A back bend could be postures like cobra. Side bending is, trikonasana or triangle pose. So things like these you can incorporate into your routine to meet your specific goals. Does that help? And
yeah. And
Alex,
what I've heard is that yoga is all about incremental. What I've heard, Namita, is that yoga is all about incremental improvement, right? You improve your flexibility, you improve your health over a period of time. But could you also help our viewers understand the benefits associated with yoga? Can you target certain aspects, improve, for example, your cardiovascular health, or improve your ability to breathe better, your respiratory system? How do you go about doing it?
No, absolutely. We should not limit yoga to just a flexibility routine, because flexibility is just one of the tools yoga uses to help bring relaxation or stress management, because those gentle stretches really help you ease into the practice and prepares you for the second stage, which is breathing exercises. So one is, of course, flexibility, which is great for athletes or people for everyday life and even for stress management. Then the other benefits of yoga, which are often missed out, is that it reduces inflammation, which is a chronic problem these days, which means fewer aches and pains, and also reduces the risk of diseases like cancer. It lowers our blood pressure. It is being found very helpful in diabetes, just because of the nature and the diversity of movements. And even if you're not flexible, if you're just attempting the poses at a level which is appropriate for you and you're not forcing the body, you will still see the benefits. So even if I can't reach the toes, if I can reach a chair and hold that posture and breathe into it, I will get the benefits. It's not that your mindfulness or stress management benefits will increase only if you reach for the toes. So that's a misconception. And then so many other benefits. It improves your sleep quality. And yes, and the most important one, it helps you breathe better. Because one, our posture is very important for our breath. If we are slouched and shoulders are rounded, then the breathing is not fully explored by the lungs. But as it improves the posture because of so many stretches for the shoulders and back bends and postures like cobra or wheel, we start to breathe better. Taking an inhalation is less, it requires less effort. And that is the power of yoga, because it is the breath, which is like the simplest, easiest, and quickest tool we have to transform our health and to manage the impact of stress. So these are a few things that I want to bring to light, not just flexibility, also a number of other things that come into our lives because we do those postures with strong awareness of the breath.
And also, by the way, from a medical point of view, your breathing is so important because your brain needs oxygen to function, right, Namita?
Yes.
But having said that, in terms of somebody who wants to start doing more of yoga, wants to make a start, how much time do they devote on a daily basis to yoga? And is there a worry in terms of doing certain things that could injure you? How does one be careful of that?
Yeah. So I think minimum 15 to 20 minutes is what you can aim for when you get started. I think an important thing to notice when you're starting, don't think of building a 60-minute or a 90-minute yoga practice. It may not fit into your schedule. You may not fully understand what you're doing, and it may become overwhelming. So start small, start with something that you can easily fit into your routine. And I think everybody can somehow manage 15 minutes in a very busy day as well. So those 15 minutes can be divided as follows. I would say that you spend, 7 to 10 minutes doing some relaxing stretches to open, especially for the shoulders and the back, like we discussed, to open out the lungs, to help you breathe better. And then after those stretches, spend some time doing deep breathing, and then maybe spend at least 3 minutes just sitting in meditation. So these three are critical to get the most benefit of yoga. You do asana, you do pranayam, and you do dhyan, which is meditation. Combine these three, and those 15 minutes can be really, really powerful, and they will get you started. They will help you be consistent, because people struggle. They start, they draw back, they start, they draw back. But add 15 minutes or 20 minutes a day, at least 3 times a week, a very, very achievable goal. And from there, you can take it up to, let's say, 45 minutes, maybe 5 days a week, gradually, slow and steady.
Okay. So I want you to break it down for our viewers who are considering doing this, right? So one, for a beginner, which asanas are the best to start with, and then for the intermediate level, what would you recommend in terms of the asanas and they can always look this up. It's the best thing, right? Everybody knows that you can find these asanas later and see how to do them, but could you list them out and tell us the benefits?
Yes. So let me begin with first the spine. So the most important thing in yoga is your spine. And that is what you should target first. If you don't have enough time, do these 4 movements for the spine, which is forward bend, back bend, side bending, and twisting. So forward bend I covered earlier is just reaching, trying to fold the body in half is one way to explore it. And this really helps in relaxing. It helps in lowering the blood pressure. It is a profoundly stress. It helps you manage stress. And at a higher stages, it becomes what is called Mahamudra, which is a meditative practice. And that's your posture in which you simply sit on the ground and bring your head towards the knees. But one has to be careful. I think you asked me that question, that, your alignment matters. Because of the nature of our lifestyle where we sit a lot, forward bending today is very risky because it often leads to back pain. And that is why many people, when they practice sun salutation, there is a lot of forward bending involved. If you are aggressive, you force yourself too much to reach for the toes, it can be counterproductive. So for this posture, I wanted to leave that thought. Don't be aggressive, don't be forceful. Either seek out a teacher, or you can also find this online, how to do this posture correctly. So that's your forward bend. Then there is a back bend. Back bends are very rejuvenating for the spine from an Ayurvedic perspective. They even spark creativity. And when not held for a long period, they are very cooling and relaxing. So those who are very stressed or agitated or who have anger issues can do postures like camel pose or cobra pose, and they should not hold it for more than 15-20 seconds in the beginning, or in other words, maybe 5 breaths, rest sufficiently, and then repeat them. So in Ayurveda, we call this a practice which is very good for Pitta dosha. So forward, backward, side bending, and side bending, just Triyak Tadasana, where you stand and swing from side to side, is super relaxing, and it's very good to improve your breathing capacity as well. You can upgrade that by taking it into, let's say, triangle pose. Now, next is twisting. Twisting really helps open out the upper body, upper back especially. And you can do Ardha Matsyendrasana or half Lord of the Fishes pose or supine twist, which is very relaxing as well, also called Jatara Parivartanasana. So, not to complicate it, you can just think of spine. Spine moves in 4 ways: forward, backward, side, and twist. And then you repeat the same with the neck, because that's an extension of the spine. So that's your basic foundational yoga practice, which you can do before pranayama or meditation. If you have more time, then we move on to the next two joints, main critical big joints, which is your shoulder and your hips. So now, depending on your goal, if you want to strengthen the shoulders, you will choose the posture like
Namita, so
plank.
sorry.
Yeah.
Namita, we'll have to break this, because what we'll do is we'll connect with you, and we will assume that my viewers are getting ready with their basic forms, and then we'll figure out what the more intermediate forms are the next time we speak. But it's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thanks, Alex. Lovely to be here with you. Thank you.